Mr. Call Screener, let us do something very radical. Normally we leave one line open for the irregular Americans, that is the libs. Let's leave two lines open. So my question to you, Obama supporters, drones, irregular Americans, you know who you are, is simple. What is your proposal now that the Republicans have put theirs out for cutting spending? Oh, by the way, you may mention the military, but the military is not the biggest part of the budget. It's much smaller than domestic spending. Domestic spending is like 4 times more than military spending. But let's say we cut the military, which I would oppose, because, you know, there are little constitutional things where only the federal government can do it and the states can't, like defend us. But even if we were to cut defense by 10 or 20%, that's not enough. So where do you liberals want to cut in domestic spending? It's your turn. Your turn. There's a proposal by the other side on the table. What's your proposal? Or do you want to just massively increase taxes on people who earn under $250,000? Is that the new game plan? According to Peter Arzog, it has to be, because there's no other way to get the money. Oh, I knew they'd hook you in eventually, ladies and gentlemen. All of us. We have to sacrifice. Does Obama look like he's sacrificing, by the way? Flying here and there, deciding whether he's going to go to the Super Bowl. You know, I hear people say, I don't begrudge it. Well, I do begrudge it. When you have an economy like ours, when you have 10% unemployment, systemic 10% unemployment, which is really 20% unemployment, no, you shouldn't be flying off to the Super Bowl. No, you shouldn't be spending 11 days in Hawaii. How about a little more time at the desk? You know, read some books on economics by people who actually understand it. Not these left-wing ideologues. Vernon, Melbourne, Florida, the great XM satellite Democrat. Go, sir.
Well, I'm actually independent. I just have one question for you, sir.
Well, can I slow you down there? Mr. Call Screener, do these people change their affiliation when they... Sir, you said you were a Democrat. Why do you do that? I'm just curious.
Well, we're starting out. Okay.
All right, go ahead and make your point, sir. But, I mean, you know, you don't need to lie to get on the program.
And you be whatever you are. My question to you is...
Brilliant.
What is your position on the tax breaks that was just given to the wealthy, that was extended for 2 years for the wealthy and the middle class or whatever?
You know what, sir, let me tell you something. Not being a Marxist like you apparently are, I don't sit around looking at a neighbor and say, what are the taxes for that guy? I see an economy that is on the brink because of spending. But I'm going to tell you something, sir. I'm considered wealthy in this country. I deduct interest on my mortgage up to a certain amount because that's all I'm allowed. I'm not allowed to deduct anything for my kids because of what I earn. I deduct my property taxes and my charitable contributions. That's it. Do you get those deductions too?
I never.
In other words, what loopholes are you talking about?
Your question, you.
Pal, you're ignorant. I'm trying to get to the bottom of this because you're giving me your talking points, and you lib talking points are getting on my nerves. I just told you I get interest deduction on my mortgage. I can't deduct the kids like you can. I can deduct my property taxes and my charitable contributions. So what loopholes are you talking about?
Okay, I never said anything about loopholes, and I never said anything about.
I pay almost over 40% of my income to the federal government, sir.
That's what
you don't break your ass to make one penny that I make, and yet you sit there and you get to tell me how much I get to keep? Yes, you're a Marxist. So that guy's idea of cutting spending is to make the redistribution of wealth argument. And, of course, that is built on the notion. Let me tell you, the bottom line is, when you hear a caller who doesn't want to talk about what the government can do to control spending, but instead wants to keep hammering everybody else, this is a person who's jealous, who's selfish, who's not thinking, and who is the perfect puppet of the left. He didn't give me one idea on what should be cut in terms of spending. Not one. People who earn over $250,000 a year, as I do, we don't have loopholes. I don't know what loopholes they're talking about. I get the same tax deductions for other people who itemize, and yet in some cases they're eliminated, like the child deduction. I can't do that anymore. It's okay. I can afford it, but my point is, I don't know what loopholes they're talking about. He doesn't mean a loophole, really. He means he just doesn't think anybody should earn more than he does. Or he wants to be some kind of a a philosopher boss, and he'll decide how much everybody should earn. I mean, this is what the left does. Everybody's at each other's throats. Success is to be punished. More is to be taken.